Buongiorno, cari studenti. Today we are going to talk about espressioni idiomatiche con avere, or things that we are in English, but we have in Italian. So il verbo avere, as you may remember, it's conjugated like this. Io ho, tu hai, lei o lui ha, noi abbiamo, voi avete, e loro hanno. Spelling is important even if the H is silent, because if you don't write the H, you will be saying other things like O without the H means or, I would mean to, the A means to, and anno would be year. And I'm including a couple of comparisons to how it's done in other languages so that you'll see that Italian is not alone in this. So in Italian, you say io ho fame or ho fame, which means literally I have hunger. But in French, you do exactly the same thing. If you see here the j'ai faim, this is the verb to have, or avoir, which is avere in Italian. In Spanish, it's exactly the same thing. You have hunger. Yo tengo hambre or tengo hambre. However, ma means but. You can also say it like this, estoy hambriento or estoy hambrienta, which means I am hungry, literally, using I am and an adjective. However, tengo hambre is most commonly used. Same thing with German. German is not a Romance language, but they also say ich habe Hunger, which is I have hunger, which you can probably figure out by yourselves because it is so close to English. It also does have another way of saying the same thing, which means I am hungry, literally, and not I have hunger. So ich bin hungrig is exactly the same as in English. I am hungry. But in my years living in Austria, I heard ich habe Hunger slightly more often than ich bin hungrig, although both are very commonly used. So this is hunger, right? Then the example below is cold. I am cold, but in many other languages, including others that have not that much in common with the Romance languages in terms of structure and grammar or the way they work, they avoid saying I am cold. And that would have another meaning, like I'm a cold-hearted person or something like that, like I'm always cold, like that's a personal trait, not a condition of brought upon me by the weather at this moment. So here, ho freddo or io ho, sorry, my mouse is very sensitive. I touch it and it goes somewhere else. So ho freddo means I have coldness. And in German and Russian, they say something else, which is not ich bin kalt or ja холодный, right? They say mir is kalt, which is there is coldness to me, or мне холодно, which is there is coldness to me, exactly the same thing. In French, they say the same as in Italian, j'ai froid. So I have coldness. And in Spanish, they say tengo frío, which is tener is the verb avere as well. So le espressioni idiomatiche con avere sono, oh my God, I put the Spanish ones here. But avere fame is to be hungry. Avere sonno is to be sleepy. Avere bisogno di is to have a need for something. Avere caldo is to be cold. Avere ragione is to be right. Avere fretta, to be in a hurry. Avere sete with one T is very important that you don't put two T's, otherwise it's the number 7, is thirsty, to be thirsty. Avere paura is to be scared. Avere voglia di is to have a desire for something. Avere freddo is to be cold. Avere torto is to be wrong. And avere a certain number of anni is to be a number of years, young or old. Allora, you have all this in the quaderno in English as well. And that's part of the homework that I assigned for next time. In order to complete that specific page where you have this in the heading on the top part, you need to conjugate the verb avere. So that means you don't just leave it like that, but you need to conjugate it according to the subject. So gli animali domestici hanno sempre fame. So this is loro because you're talking about them, and this is plural, right? You know that this is plural because of the gli and the I, and then the also, even if we haven't seen this adjective, domestic animals, right? It's very close to English, but it ends in the plural form. So you know this must be a plural. Hanno sempre fame. E poi, prossimo esempio, I can't deal with this mouse anymore. So la professoressa, and you know that this is a singular feminine noun because of the la, and then, so lei, this is the same as lei, ha fretta ogni mattina. So she's in a hurry each morning. O tiene prisa cada mañana. La professoressa ha fretta ogni mattina. E poi, ultimo esempio, noi abbiamo paura di Freddy Krueger. This is just the noi and abbiamo. Paura means fear. We have fear from Freddy Krueger, meaning we're afraid of him. Bene. So, esempi, la ragazza ha fretta. La ragazza, lei ha fretta. La ragazza is the young lady or the girl, or eccetera, ha fretta, she's in a hurry. Poi i bambini, questo è plurale, ci sono 2 bambini, loro hanno 7. Okay? E poi c'è una studentessa, singolare, la studentessa, meaning lei, conjugation, ha sonno. She's sleepy, tiene sueño. Poi, mi dispiace, lui ha fretta, caldo, sonno, fame. Lui ha fretta. Ha fretta, because he is singular, right? Lui because it's a he. Lui ha, and then fretta, which means a hurry. Poi il bambino ha, ha fame. Lui mangia, quindi ha fame. Il bambino significa lui, singolare. Va bene? Poi, these are the first 9 exercises from your quaderno, the corresponding page with Espressioni con Avere. Allora, quando Maria, so you need to see whether this is, who is the subject? Maria is the same as lei, she. When she is hungry, mangia una mela, she eats an apple. So, quando Maria, and let's do this. So, I made a copy where I put everything in Spanish for the benefit of some of my other students. And I thought I saved the English part, but quando lei ha fame, lei mangia una mela. Quando io, and then the conjugation of io would be ho freddo, right? Then ragione. So to be right, la madre ha ragione. Don't all mothers, right? E poi wrong. Il padre ha torto, right? And then gli studenti non, so again, this is a plural, is they, non hanno paura dell'esame di domani. They're not afraid of tomorrow's exam. Noi abbiamo bisogno della penna nera. E poi il bambino ha 5 anni. And then voi avete caldo oggi. E io bevo l'acqua fresca quando io ho 7. Right? Bevo l'acqua fresca quando io ho 7. So, allora, questa è la forma di fare il compito. This is the way to do that homework, right? just conjugate the verb avere, io ho, tu hai, lei ha, noi abbiamo, voi avete, loro hanno, and then add the corresponding noun, because these are adjectives in English, but they are nouns in Italian. That's why they do not change, right? So even if I am female, I don't say io ho fredda, right? Because I am using avere and a noun. However, you will see just freddo and caldo to be used as adjectives, right? Per esempio, la pizza è calda, il caffè è freddo, right? However, that only applies to inanimate objects, not to living beings. Living beings, you use avere, and then the ending never changes. Per esempio, cuando voi avete caldo, this is plural, but then this is still ending in O. You know that plural adjectives do not end with O. They end in E or E if they're adjectives. But again, this one is not an adjective here. It doesn't work like an adjective. Va bene? Ok, allora ci vediamo la settimana prossima, and I wish you all a nice evening.